Yes guys, welcome back to Alpha Plug. Today we're going to break down the Misfits' first ever survival tag match. But before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you're new, drop a like on the video and comment who do you think is going to win the survival tag match down below. Right, Nick Lamau, right, he's a good boxer, like really good boxer. He obviously lost to Jay Swingler back in Misfits 05 in Telford. I still believe he won that fight. I think he did enough to win that fight, but that's another video. And yeah, man, I think he's going to do really well in the Survivor tag. For the reasons being is, right, I'll get into his advantages now. His defense is on point. This guy is shoulder rolling shots, bro. You know that Mayweather style where it's like hands down and your shoulder rolling? Who else is doing that in the influencer scene? Honestly, who else is doing that? Apart from maybe one other guy, no one else is shoulder rolling shots, man. And that's a huge advantage. Because think, right, when you're training for a fight, you're expecting the guy to have his hands up. You know, because it's like predictable. It's what you're taught in boxing, right? The guy has a high guard, like another fighter in this Survivor tag, which I'll get into later. But a high guard, and he's just breaking down the shots, you know, hooks and body shots. This guy is like this. This guy has his hands down most of the time and still doesn't get hit. This is such a good advantage. This is such like a great style of fighting if you're Nick Lamau, because it's so unpredictable. And the way he just like moves out the way of punches and stuff is actually like, he has one of the best defenses in the scene, without a doubt. I actually thought he won that fight against Jay Swingler, but obviously Jay Swingler's hometown, the crowd were going insane. I was actually there as well in live. The crowd were going insane every time Jay Swingler landed a punch, so I can see why the judges would have thought Jay won. But watching it back, every single time I've watched it back, I'm like, nah, Nick wins. But that's a story for another video, isn't it? So, yeah. He throws punches in bunches, right? He throws a lot of combos. And it's not just like, you know, the 1-2 or the jab and then back. He throws a lot of combos, like 3, 4, 5 punch combinations. That could be the difference in the Survivor tag. Because remember, right, all you have to do to like get an opponent out of there, all you have to do to like knock out a fighter is to knock them down. So if Nick Lamau is literally just doing, okay then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch combination, and then Swarms, I don't know, is off balance a bit and he goes down, that Swarm's out of the Survivor tag, man. That Swarm's done. So regardless of what happens, I think it's going to be a good match anyway. But yeah, going back to Nick Lamau, bro, he can fight off the back foot. Who else? Because everybody in boxing, right? When you envision yourself in the ring, you're the guy who's in the center of the ring, right? You're the guy who's in the center of the ring. You're putting pressure on your opponent. You're just jabbing him, whatever. But this guy doesn't mind having his back to the ropes. He can still fight off the back foot, which is very impressive. Especially for like a novice influencer. Yeah, has a really good jab as well. Oh, bro, his straight shots are so good. His 1-2 is so good. And really good feints as well. You know, he sometimes, you know, juts his chin forward to then get a read off his opponent. So then when someone throws a jab, he can just counter off the jab. It's high level stuff, man. It's really high level stuff, especially in this scene. So his disadvantages, right? Cardio. I mean, he did gas out a bit in that Jay Swingler fight, especially towards the end. You can see him like completely just hands down walking around the ring. Whether this will be a factor in the survival tag, I'm not sure, because obviously it's survival tag, like you're in there and you get tagged out, so maybe that will work in his favor. But that's maybe a slight disadvantage he might have to deal with. He does leave himself exposed as well, as we saw in the Jay Swingler fight. I think from, was it the 3rd round onwards, there was no guard, not even no this. You're just both hands by his side, literally both hands just by his side. And I think when you do leave your hands by your side, you are open for a massive shot. And all one shot has to do, it doesn't have to hurt you, but all one shot has to do is just clip you on the temple, clip you on the chin, and it's night-night. So that's maybe something he needs to work on. Yeah, another disadvantage, right? He's only had one fight. I think he might be the most inexperienced guy in this survival tag, along with obviously Ryan Johnson, who's also had one fight, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, he's only had one fight. So imagine, right, only having one fight in Misfits, and then all of a sudden you're doing a survival tag with another three guys. You're fighting essentially another 3 guys. But it's influencer boxing for you, innit? And that's why we love the scene, because it's so interesting, it's so unpredictable. And I think, right, yeah, bro, he's the only person in Survivor tag who hasn't won a boxing match. That's actually kind of mad still. Because when you look at the other guys, you're like, nah, they're somewhat on his level, right? I wouldn't say Nick's definitely the worst boxer here, but hasn't won a fight. So That's Nick Namal for you. So moving on to the crab daddy himself, B Dave. Let's see. So he lost to Pineda back in Misfits 04 on his Misfits debut as well. So and it is somewhat understandable, right? You know, Pineda is a professional boxer. This guy is a boxer, and bear in mind, right? B Dave that was his debut, and he was meant to be a mystery fighter as well. So B Dave had no clue that he's facing a pro fighter. It's somewhat understandable that he lost. But yeah, and then he won with Pineda, obviously, in Misfits 005, in the tag team. And he did well, man, he did well. I mean, Pineda obviously did do a lot of the work, but B-Dave still had to be there to finish Ice Poseidon off. So, right, so going into B-Dave's advantages, right, in this Survivor tag, I think he has maybe 3 or 4 fights worth of experience. Honestly, right, think of that. He's got 3 or 4 fights worth of experience compared to Nick Lamau's 1. So when things do really get tough in there, when shots are landing, when hooks are landing, when you're getting a bit tired, he's going to be alright because he's been there before with Pineda back in Misfits 04. So he's going to be sound, isn't it? His high guard, B-Dave's high guard. Watch the Pineda fight, right? Although he did lose that fight like convincingly, his high guard's so effective. Honestly, his high guard just blocks off shots. It's like so good. You don't really see many people in the scene, you know, commit to a high guard. You see a lot of people with hands down. You see a lot of people, you know, drop the hands when they're out of range. B-Dave, it's like he has his like hands just glued to his head like this. It's actually so effective because think, shots are barely gonna come in. Although okay, you might take a few to the glove, which is fine, right? It's boxing. But shots aren't going to come in, and that's such a big advantage when you're in a you know, a Survivor tag. Guys are going to be throwing hell for leather. Like, make no mistake, guys are going to be throwing bombs. Because think, if you're Ryan Johnson, right, you want to get in there, you want to throw some bombs, and you want to get out and finger tag, right? I'm telling you, right, this ain't going to be a tip-tappy. This is going to be hard, solid power punches landing on people's chins. This is going to be a fight, guys. This is going to be a fight. B-Dave has a great chin, man, and we saw that. Although I think he may have been dropped, right, against Pineda, but still has a good chin. He lasted the entire fight with Pineda. A Mexican professional boxer, and he lasted the entire fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, B-Dave's so underrated, I think. He's so underrated. He's got decent cardio as well, and on the inside, as we saw against Ice Poseidon in the tag team match, he really can throw bangs. He can throw hooks. He can really rough people up on the inside. That could be one of B-Dave's key to victories, you know? When Swarms is tired, when Nick Lamau's tired, you get on the inside and you rough them up. Rock'em sock'em boxing, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's B-Dave for you. I think the only disadvantages for B-Dave is that there's barely any head movement. There's minimal head movement, and when you're in a survival tag where the shots are going to be absolutely coming at you, you want to be dodging some of them. So although his high guard is so effective when it's like this, you're going to want to evade some punches because there's going to be a bang you're caught with, and it's whether the bang, can you take that bang on the chin? You know what I'm saying? So technically, without being too you know, heavily criticizing B-Dave, I think technically he's not the best. In terms of, like, we've seen guys who are technical in the scene, you know, we've seen Kenny, we've seen Taylor Hold'em and Evil. I don't think B-Dave is that technical, and that may cost him because you're up against guys who are on similar or higher level than him in this match. But moving on to the madman himself, Swarms. Come on. Right, so obviously Swarms lost to KSI last year, right? We all know this. I think in Misfits 04, back in January, KO'd Ryan Taylor. I mean, he did make him quit in the corner, so... And then obviously had a really good performance, by the way, really good performance, but lost to Deji. So he's going to be hungry, he's going to be looking for a win in Survivor Tag. He had an insane body transformation, bro, insane. Like, this guy was like 90 odd kg, and now he's like 170 pounds. He lost a lot of weight, and he actually looks jacked now, he looks ripped. And he's improved so much, bro. Look at the KSI fight, then look at him in the Deji fight. Bro, it's 2 different boxers. Nah, people don't say this enough, right? Swarms is probably the guy who's improved the most, in my opinion. Obviously, Deji's gone on leaps and bounds from the Jake Paul fight to now. Obviously, that's like 5 years, right? But so it was August 27th, he fought KSI, then he fought Deji May 15th, that's 8 to 4, I can't be after the maths, but that's like around about a year, right? Around about a year, and he looks like a proper boxer, bro. The way he's like his movement, oh bro, I'll get into it now, but his lateral movement is so good. Because obviously people love the KSI bounce, people love, you know, KSI's movement, but Swarms' movement is one of the best in the scene, bro. The way he's on his toes, yeah, and he's like in and out of range and feinting. Bro, it's so good, so good. He's rangy as well. Swarms is extremely rangy. Like for 170, his ranges is like long, like kind of like Kenny in a way. He's got, like I said, he's got great lateral movement. He's twitchy. Swarms is very twitchy, and when I say that, I mean he's got fast punches. Like yeah, in the Deji fight, right, when he was having a high guard and just like putting himself in the corner, Deji would throw his combo at him, right? But he caught him Swarms caught him a few times with a right hook, a cheeky little right hook like that, and so Deji was kind of like feeling it. So he's got power and he's got fast punches, and when you put those together, we could see someone get knocked out on Saturday night, guys. Yeah, he's got a great jab as well, Swarms, a really good jab. Going into his disadvantages though, similar to B-Dave, like we saw in the Deji fight, he has the high guard, right? A lot in the Deji fight, we just saw him just passive, just not even throwing back any punches, just in the corner like this. That's not great in Survivor Tag, is it? Because the guy ain't gonna stop. Like Deji stopped, obviously, threw like 5 punches, then stopped. Bro, the guy in Survivor Tag ain't gonna stop. If it's Ryan Johnson, if it's Nick Lamau, if it's B-Dave, they're just gonna keep coming in with the hooks and Swarms like this. So that can't happen. That's something that cannot happen. Swarms can't just like be passive and just shell up, because he is gonna get pretty like badly beat. And something that he needs to implement into his game, I think, guys, is him throwing the 1-2. We don't see it a lot. Swarms doing combinations. It's normally just the jab, maybe a hook, and then the right hand. With Swarms, if Swarms really wants to win the first ever Misfit Survivor Tag, he's gonna have to throw punches in bunches. I'm talking 3, 4, 5, 6 punch combinations. It can't just be the 1-2, because we've got to a point now where everyone can just, okay, he's gonna throw 1-2, I'll just step back. He's really gotta fight fire with fire here and just go hell for leather. He cannot be passive. And if you see a Swarms that throws punches, a lot of punches, he could win it, man. He could take it. So going into the last fighter, Ryan Johnston, who won against Kel Siraj, by the way, back in Social Gloves 1, right, in 2021. Really good fighter, by the way, Ryan Johnston, really good fighter. And he sparred Taylor Holder before. Some of you may have seen that where he sparred Taylor Holder. And it was quite an even spar. I think one of them got dropped. I can't remember who, but it was a decent spar, yeah? I think the advantages that Ryan Johnston has is that he is rangy. Again, kind of like Swarms. For 170, this guy's rangy, very, very, very rangy. Whereas, no offense to him, but B-Dave isn't that rangy at 160, 170. I don't know what their reach is, Swarms and Ryan Johnson, but they've clearly got the advantage on their opponents, 110%. Ryan, really good movement, really good movement. And one thing I like about Ryan is his patience. You know, he doesn't go in hell for leather with punches. Sometimes you can see him, he's patient. He's teasing the jab, he's feinting, and there he goes. I like that a lot. And I think if he does that in Survivor Tag on Saturday night, could take it all. Honestly, could take it. He has a really good jab as well. And his punches, right, are so accurate. Go back and watch that fight with Kel Siraj, right? The fight he had with Kel Siraj back in Social Gloves 1. All of his punches just landed on the button. Landed clean on Kel Siraj's face. Barely any of them missed, whereas Kel Siraj is missing a lot of punches, you know, wasting energy. Ryan Johnson, every single time, pat, pat, pat. Every single one just landed on the button. Hooks, uppercuts, everything landed on the button. Bro, that accuracy is insane. Like, if we see that on Saturday night, someone is getting slept badly. Honestly, right, this guy doesn't have that much disadvantages. And I think he's got a lot better. He told me in our interview that he's been training since the Kel Siraj fight, which is even better for him. And if I have to nitpick and pick out any disadvantage he may have, is probably when like he's being too patient. For example, when he had Kel Siraj in the corner, he didn't really go for it, you know? He just kind of like left him in the corner and just hesitated. Whereas in Survivor Tag, nah bro, if that happens, you unload the clip. You go hell for leather, because think guys, if you knock down the guy once, he's gone, he's eliminated. None of this 10-second count on, nah, he's gone, bro, he's out of there. So if you've got your opponent on the ropes, bro, you cannot be hesitant, you just gotta unload the clip. And I think if Ryan Johnson does that to one of his opponents, he could get them out of there, 110%, yeah. Obviously this was 2 years ago, but in his last fight, he did leave himself open quite a lot. A lot of punches were landing on him as well. Maybe that's, I don't know, testament to his opponent, because his opponent wasn't that bad really, but It's not something you want to see, is it, when you're about to do a survivor tag for the first time? But yes, guys, I've rambled on for enough now. Let's get into my prediction. I think anybody could win this survival tag match, anyone, right? But me personally, I'm gonna go with Nick Lamau as my winner. In my opinion, he technically is the best boxer in this match. You know, although he didn't win that fight against Jay Swingler, he showed a lot of people that he can box. A lot of people. But more importantly, who do you guys think is going to win the first ever survival tag match? Let us know in the comments down below. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.